Hey gang. Welcome back to Dark Guys. Dark Geyser 3. I actually don't know when the last time we streamed was. Probably a week ago. That's why I picked today. So, what is the plan? We could technically do the stasis corridor, and that would be the end of the void stuff, I guess. We might. I think the plan was to explore a little bit first. Let's see, we can also go to the Scar a bit if we want. So I think I will save that. We still have things to talk about. I actually finished the game. It only occurred to me like yesterday, but we never had that conversation about the Outer Worlds yet. Even though I still haven't finished it, I just want to talk. Because I'm really enjoying myself. It's less bumper. Work for breath. Jeez. I like completely forgot how to play somehow. Kill that boy. I don't think this is where I wanted to go, but there might be something for me here still. Pretty sure I was aiming for the first Vulgarman point. I'm just gonna work our way in from there. This is fine. We fought him before. I think this leads down to a water pit, so there might be something there for us. Oh, right here actually. This one. Oh, you know what? I never looked up what all the weapons did. I should, like, do that now, right? Possibly. Piece of adamantite. That's one of the big ones, I think. Like, why I need to get a top tier upgrade. Actually, I think our whip is at its max. I just need one of those. I think you only need one. I'm inclined to believe it because you needed the last 2 hollows to get to that. Fucking kidding me. Alright, well, let's figure this out. Where's my phone? How to do Darksiders 3 new weapons. New weapons differences. There we go. Reddit, our favorite forum. PS5. Force X is a little faster. I was correct about that. Do. Walls do a little more damage, but the counter speed is higher on the flails, which isn't an issue for us since we're immune during counters, but if you're playing on the default settings where you're not, that could make a significant difference. The pole arm has more damage and a better AoE, but you can't throw it. I'm still not sure how to do the ranged counter. That is very useful. I remember doing it frequently against the Avarice fight originally, but I just haven't touched the freaking spear at all this time. The mallet has fatter damage but lower attack speed. Axe has less range, or on the counter, it has a smaller radius for the AoE. But it hits twice, so you get better damage value out of it. Conclusion, the axe is just better. And for the stasis one, it says the sword higher damage, lower attack space. And the counters attack in different directions. So it sounds like for all of them, it's a matter of preference. Just like the counter is the biggest difference. But for the axe is better. But I've already leveled up the mallet so much, it doesn't really matter. So that's neat. Let's see what's down here. Oh. Yeah, we don't need to... don't need to head over there quite yet. Over by the Vulgrim pit. Serpent hole thing. God, the frame rate's been really bad right now. On, you know, like background processes going. The hub. I don't know if that takes up anything. Discord I can close. What is this? Xbox? No, it's dash should be in silent mode. Fuji Galaxy. Well, let's see if that helped with anything at all. It might have. Ooh! 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 Stop! Bastard. So, what's the plan? Can I just lure out one of them, or if they're both aggroed? Oh, fuck, they have ranged attacks. And I guess I don't need to actually fight them. I just need to get whatever they're guarding. Might be the plan. Great. I love to see it. Me not getting my ass pounded? Amazing. Dead angels? Amazing. Alright, let's fucking do this, bastards. Shit on you. They don't have as much health as I anticipated. My glaive destroyed his. I think I don't see you, Invisibitch. Oh, he still dodged me. Hello. Come on, teleporty boy. Damn. Charge attack hit for like a third of his health. I think there was just a human back here, probably not much else. Just an insignificant little man. So I should probably restart my computer, but since I don't want to do that, I'm just going to lower some settings. It's gotta just be that, like, I installed a ton of games, right? You're really supposed to restart your computer after installing something. And I just haven't yet. Wow, attention to detail. There's supposed to be something back here. Like, I know I already looted this, but is there a boss in here or what? Dead guy is probably the loot on him. Whatever. We'll just keep going this way since we're here. Trying to make it disappear because it's on a flat plane. It might be too wide to do it, but if I get close enough, maybe. Almost totally. I know that water temple came out in the church down here. So I don't think I really need to explore too much of that. And I don't think there's anything over here in the graveyard that I can remember. This fucking Warhammer cosplayer. Oh, I am one of the freaking pustules. I don't know what else they call it. Maybe a geode. Why do I remember climbing up a church like this somewhere? It might have been in another game. No enemies? There they are. Alright. You know what? I do remember there is a purple thing at the bottom of all this. And I see the blue jumpy, but I'm pretty sure we've been up there, and I was like, why is this here? And like, I'm gonna go there, but I don't think there's gonna be anything. I just say this is a really beautiful shade of blue. And it's really more of a white, but like, you know, it looks like ice. Looks like snow. Very calming. Transition. Sounds like a blood omen item. I think this is about to take us out to the Bone Lands. Yeah. That's fine. We'll keep looking in this direction. We had to go through all of it again anyways.
What would you have?
We're getting stuff.
As you wish.
Right, so I played Archvale. I shouted out maybe 2 sessions ago. So as I mentioned, this is one of those games that had like devlogs on YouTube, and I followed it for a few years while it was being made. And you know, my opinions have influenced some decisions in the game, possibly. Though I by no means worked on it. So, you know, it was cool to see the whole project come together, have it be actually a good game. And, you know, watch it grow along the way. Though I feel that the final product is still different from what he left us with in the devlogs. Like, obviously he needed to keep some content a surprise. To not spoil things. Like, he can tell us about new features, but not, like, all the new areas or whatever, all the new weapons. Though I feel like there were features missing, specifically. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. For the most part, I feel like it all, like, flowed well. It was good. Maybe a bit short, but it was also pretty difficult. I played on the normal difficulty because hard was named hardcore, and that threw me off because, you know, hardcore usually means permadeath. Which it didn't, it just meant that it was harder. So he actually ended up changing the name because of what I said. And an update later on. So I played on the normal difficulty, and it started out pretty easy. Once you get to like the last 4 zones or so, which I think there's 7, things get a bit more difficult. The final boss really shredded my asshole. Not as much as some of the other ones, but still he was pretty difficult. See, the artwork's very simplistic. It's 8-bit pixel art, but it's well animated. Like, everything's really bouncy. There's a decent amount of juice, camera shake, stuff like that, particle effects. Whenever you hit things, like, that all just feels really good. The music's fantastic. The only complaint I have about the artwork specifically is that when you're on like half tile pieces, like on edges, they're supposed to be next to pits. Your character kind of looks like he is fully floating off in the abyss when you stand on the edge. It has to do with perspective and how he had to draw it to make it work like that. but it just felt really off. It's really not a big deal. So, what the hell is the game? Well, it's a bullet hell RPG, top-down twin stick. So, it's very similar to Enter the Gungeon. If you're a fan of that, you should really enjoy it. And even if you're not a fan of it, because Enter the Gungeon is really hard, and the progression is not the best, you would probably enjoy Archvale even more. Like in Enter the Gungeon, most of what you get are just guns, and the guns aren't necessarily any better than others. They just have, like, you know, different fire rates, different fire shapes. So for the most part, everything just does 1 damage. It's all just a bullet, the red sphere. And then occasionally you can get a passive item in Enter the Gungeon, and you're praying for them, but they're very rare. Even though they're the things that actually change the game and make you better. You can generally buy them at the shops, but like I never have enough money for them personally, so I've never made it too far in Gungeon, even though I enjoy it. Archvale is not a roguelike, though the world is procedurally generated initially. It's kind of like a Zelda game, I guess. Though not really. Maybe the progression's more similar to Terraria, where like some of the things that you craft will end up being progression items, but like otherwise it's very much freeform. So basically, just like Gungeon, all the weapons have different properties: attack speed, attack shape, attack range, and just general functionality. Sometimes there are unique weapons you pick up, like there's one biome that's like a crab cave, and you meet an NPC there who gives you crab hammers, which you throw, and they just do a ton of bonus damage to the crab-type enemies. There's no leveling per se, it's very classless. However, when you craft armor, it can provide bonuses to specific stats, like your ranged melee or magic damage. You can also get rings to affect that. And there's also like a badge system similar to Paper Mario, which is where your class identity really comes from. So you're able to just switch them up on the fly, kind of. You have to purchase more badge slots as you go through the game and have them available at the store. So you feel more powerful as that grows, I suppose. And more options for the armors come into play later on too, when it's not just armor anymore and stuff to have the class-specific stats. Especially when you get to the endgame biomes, which there's like 3 of that you could have gone into around the same time. You'll just be wearing like one of the sets from those areas at the end of the game. So, as you might expect, melee is kind of slow, but it does fire like a wave, like in Zelda. So, like, it is ranged, and it does chunky damage. And it feels pretty good. Then there's some variants of melee weapons, like I think boomerangs count as melee, I don't remember. There's flails too, which like spin around you constantly. And that allows you to move, so like if you're someone who has to focus more on dodging, the flail is for you. And I actually used the flail against the final boss, or the second phase of him at least. Because of just that, like I was focusing on dodging, I just wanted to touch them whenever I could. And they do pretty decent damage. Especially with the charm that makes it spin even faster, like it just shreds enemies. Those are cool. And they're like bows, crossbows, multi-shot crossbows, and repeaters. Sort of short-range shotgun type things. I feel with the ranged weapons specifically, there was a lot of variety and functionality. Like, you'll have quick fire bows and, like, spread bows and, like, ones that take a long time to charge up. And there's also a lot of different badges to modify your arrow effects. Like, you can make them occasionally fire fire arrow, you can make them track enemies slightly, make them pierce. You may have a chance to refire on a successful hit. So that can get pretty busted if you're into that. And the magic, there's staffs, which all generally function a little differently, though they're mostly beams. Like single shot laser pierces through everything, or a tome, which is like a rapid fire thing with automatic tracking on it. And as you do magic damage or kill enemies, they'll drop these little star shards. So while the magic damage is generally less than usual, when you pick up these shards, it increases your attack speed and damage exponentially. And you get charms to make those buffs even more powerful and make them easier to pick up and acquire. So the magic's pretty cool too. All of them play very uniquely from one another. How do I get back there? So even when you pick up a different weapon of the same family, it might still have its own unique properties, like I mentioned with the bows. To pick up a bow, it might fire slow, might fire fast, might fire multiple shots at once. So there is like a real breadth of variety with all the weapons. I thought was really great, though kind of frustrating when you have to get rid of something that has a unique quirk that you really like, which I believe I mentioned as an issue with Chasm as well. It's not like Dark Souls where all the weapons are viable at the end of the game. You just get stuff that's straight up better as you play. Though you are able to upgrade some of the weapons with money. Yeah, there's money. You can buy some stuff from the shop. Usually the items he sells are crafting materials. You can buy some new badges, badge slots, heart pieces to increase your health. As you go through the game, you will find goddess statues, which act as a save point and refill your health and potion flask. You can also fast travel to them, and everyone you activate provides a guaranteed defense boost of 1. Pick up. How the hell do I get in here? It has to have something to do with that guy, right? It has to. Like, what's the point of even being in here? And I don't know. So there's another way that you progress as you go through the game. You get more health and armor from those things. Occasionally in dungeons, you will pick up a damage upgrade as well. The dungeons consist of 2 segments, just like looking around for keys and whatnot, fighting the enemies. You might find like a unique ring in there or something that you can hold on to. Like the first one was full of skeletons, and I got a ring that made me do bonus damage to skeletons. And there are quite a few other dungeons with skeletons as the main enemies. So there are different kinds of skeletons, don't worry. You get there from outside. And then the other part is just like a platforming section, which usually comes in the second half of it, where it wants to use your dashes to get around, zoop around. Sometimes there'll be like ice on the floor, or like platforms that move when you step on them, or that fall when you step on them. And there are little dash recharge pips lying around. Some even increase the distance of your dash, kind of like in Celeste. Those are pretty fun, and there's usually a secret hidden around them too. Up the boat. Come on. And there's a boss fight at the end of each dungeon, of course. The bosses are all unique. Some are easier than others. I really found myself changing up my playstyle for each one. Like, I didn't just stick to whatever my preferred weapon was. I have a strategy. Use a specific 2 weapons. Or something like that. Try out different badge sets to get through it. So those are all well designed.
Please take your time.
I think it's this one. And then when you kill it, you will get an additional potion flask and a heart piece. And then you go collect a piece of the arch, which is the point of the game. You need to like get all 7 keystones to rebuild the arch and open the way to Utopia, the Archvale. Ooh. After killing the first boss, you also acquire a bomb ability, which, that's one of the things that changed throughout development. Initially, you had plans for a lot of different abilities that you'd be able to equip and find, and it would cost like mana before you decide to just make it damage-based. Originally, there were stats in the game too, like you actually leveled up and stuff. But back then there were also more roguelike elements, so you decide that the grinding was like not what the game needed. God damn it. So you need that bomb to progress out of the first biome before it opens up and you come to like a fork of like 3 different ways you could have gone. So that's where things start to get a bit different. One of the ways you could have gone was the crab caves, right? And the crabs all have like a crap ton of armor. So until you can get to the NPC who gives you the crab hammers, that's kind of like really tough. So I end up avoiding that until I got stronger weapons from the other areas that I could have gone. I just kind of ended up bouncing back and forth between the 3 paths until eventually I made it to one of the endgame areas, and then You know, when I got to the other areas, I already had equipment that was stronger than what they were giving me, so it felt kind of like a waste. But it was still worthwhile exploring because of the defense boosts from the statues, the heart pieces, potion flask upgrades from the dungeon, of course. And sometimes you get something unique out of it. And of course, finding the towns in new areas increases your bank space because you drop all your money on death. And unlocks new crafting opportunities and badge slots, stuff at the stores. Initially, there was an issue with, when you're exploring, you'll sometimes find a room that's just a chest and it has a unique weapon in it. And those weapons are usually upgradable eventually. However, because there's no way to sell equipment, you just have to, like, trash it, destroy it in your inventory to clear up space. Or you can drop it in your storage box if you want. But there was seemingly no reason to initially before I found out that you can upgrade them. So I ended up destroying a few unique items. He patched it eventually so you couldn't destroy crafting items like that. But I was kind of tight because one of them was called like the bag of knives. And you just throw out like 4 daggers at once. And it was really busted if you like shotgun blasted a guy in the face with them. And you can upgrade that into a bag of poison knives and then a bag of frozen poison knives. And having something with multiple damage types on it like that is really great. But I wasn't able to take advantage of that, sadly. Again, he patched that, so like, improvements are being made. I think it took me maybe 13 hours to finish. Maybe a little more. It depends whether or not you want to count death times and stuff, you know? And I feel like if there were more of the roguelike elements that were initially planned, I would feel more inclined to replay it, despite how fun it was. Like, I don't see any reason to replay, other than to play on the higher difficulty. But, like, again, I got my ass kicked at some points, so I don't really need to do that. I don't think that's the way. Oh, geez, I didn't mention the freaking dodge challenges. Every biome has at least one. Or you find like a cube, it teleports you up to the moon, and then you have to like do a bullet hell dodging challenge to unlock a badge. And these are all unique from one another. They start out very simple, just like more orbs firing at you at once, faster attacking orbs. And eventually they turn into like patterns, different kinds of attacks, maybe not bullets, maybe lasers. Maybe they fire circles at you. Maybe they fire in a sine wave, so it like woo when it comes towards you. Maybe the bullet takes a second to speed up like a rocket. Maybe they follow you around a bit, and like it can be pretty complicated sometimes. Because they're all different, like they don't necessarily increase in difficulty at a certain point. They just like some of these are gonna give you a lot of trouble and some of these won't. I'm tempted to go over there, but it doesn't look like there's too much detailed things, so I doubt there's anything actually up there. So I did mention things got like freeform, even like obviously you get stronger weapons and armor as you play the game, so like there needs to be a way to check you, and those do exist. In the final biomes, you need to pass both a health check and a DPS check to enter them. I thought was a neat idea. Right, you can also find plums to upgrade the healing strength of your potions. I didn't mention that the potions aren't like instant. You have to sit there and hold X to drink it. And you have to do a complete drink to actually get the heal out of it. And the heal isn't 100% instant either. It takes like a second to take effect. So during a boss fight, you like really have to look for gaps in the bullet hell to try and drink one real quick. And there is a badge you can get called the potion funnel that speeds it up to like a quarter of the time. Came in handy, but I don't consider it essential by any means. I think that the potion drinking is a unique challenge. So it looks like I'm supposed to get in from on the boat, but the boat doesn't want to let me in. Otherwise, you come in through somewhere on the roof, or maybe over there, but I don't see any way to get it there. I guess that's all there is to the game. It was good. Tightly designed. Progression was satisfying, animations felt juicy, didn't overstay its welcome. Despite being classless, I feel that you have memes to define a play style. And each one feels well defined from the others. The weapons are all very fun, characters are fun. It's just a good game, solid game, I recommend. Though I wish it had a little more replay value. What am I missing? How do I get in here? There's a hole in the ground. There's a motherfucking hole in the motherfucking ground. How'd I miss that? So I'm been trying to get in from above this whole time. I need to get in from below. So where would below be? Possibly somewhere in this cave over here. I used my ice power to get that collectible, but maybe there's something under the water too that I don't remember. Of course, I think it's taking me in the wrong direction, but I'm gonna look anyways. I think it's more likely I'd have to go in there somewhere from the water dungeon. Which, that first room in there is very wide open. It's very possible I did miss something while we were there. These bees just drowning themselves? That's so amazing. Jeez. I think it's on Twitter. There's a freaking great video of Sam Strippin, Dodger's husband. He's also possibly more popular than her, I'm not sure. She's the female gamer, so she got the popularity points, right? Everybody wanted her to be a spokesperson or whatever. Anyways, wonderful video of him just like grabbing a wasp nest out of her fucking backyard and dunking it into the swimming pool so that the wasp would all fucking chase him down and drown. Like, what a fucking man. He just grabs it barehanded. He's not wearing any protective clothing or anything. That took some fucking balls.
this.
Greetings.
As you wish. Farewell for now.
Fuck. Right, so last time we were talking about stuff I bought during the sale, I bought a couple more things. So first off, I mentioned there was a game, it was like a swarm management thing with RPG elements that I thought was called like Necromancer or something simple. It's called Undead Horde. So I bought that. Exactly what it sounds like. I also bought that Monster Boy game that we saw at the very end of the last stream because I closed out all the windows from the shopping, right? But the windows still existed in the Alt-Tab menu. Like, if I just minimized everything, I would not be able to open it up without Alt-Tabbing. Really weird, but I bought that, which is like a Metroidvania with really wonderful looking graphics. I think it's a sequel to a different game, maybe called Wonder Boy. I'm not entirely sure if they're related. But essentially, you're like a little knight boy who can shapeshift into different monsters. And that just sounds fun, doesn't it? Also, I think it's published by Xseed, who never disappoints me, really. I love Xseed. Wonderful publisher. What else? Right, I also bought Valheim. My brother saw a VR mod for it, and he wanted to play it, and I was like, okay, we'll play Valheim. Which I've been holding, I've wanted it, alright, it looks great, but it's in early access still, so like I didn't want to buy it until it came out. Though on the page it says they wanted it to be like a year in early access, and when did it come out? This summer? So it's almost been a year. It should be more or less feature complete. So I'm gonna start playing that soon, I guess. So he was trying to play the mod, and like it doesn't necessarily work. Like it works, and like he really wanted it because it wasn't just like a camera hack. It has like full motion control support. And I tried it too. So like sometimes the camera just breaks, and you'll have to reinstall the whole fucking game. For some reason, when you're like punching things, your right hand just seems to never connect, while your left hand does rather easily. I think it probably has something to do with how the character's animated, because he has his left foot forward, so there's probably more reach on it. like normal boxing. The issue is that it doesn't have foot tracking, it only has hand tracking, right? So you can't fight like a boxer and give the right hand the reach it needs. When you're holding a weapon, everything works more or less fine. But the building specifically is really awkward and kind of broken. Like, I can't figure out how to rotate structures at all. So everything just, like, breaks, and, like, I can't even get the floors to snap together straight. They snap diagonally for some reason. Well, that's kind of broken. It needs a little work, but it was neat, I guess. I can't imagine myself ever playing it in VR because you have to, like, chop down trees and dig holes and shit. Like, that's just a lot of work. He can do what he wants. The dingus. Damn it, this fucking frame rate. So what did I want to talk about with the Outer Worlds? I have a vague idea, but the conversation I had prepared is, like, not in my head currently. I guess I just want to talk about the game's humor. How it's all like a big corporate joke. Unchecked consumerism and stuff ruining people's lives. So essentially, this game takes place in the Halcyon system, owned by the Halcyon Holdings Corporation. It's a space colony around a star. Everything is named around, like, Greek stuff, I guess. And so I guess the way it works is the Halcyon Holdings Corporation owns the whole system, and all the colonies are their subsidiary companies. But these companies are all fighting each other, like, they don't work together, they're all competition. Which, I guess, makes sense. I don't know if that's how businesses work. I feel like they should be promoting each other, but whatever. No, in that sense, things work kind of like Borderlands, where, like, the corporations kind of own everything. And, like, you know, with the new use stations in Borderlands, even money would be enough to resurrect a criminal or whatever. They just don't care. And all the manufacturers have their own unique properties, like Anti-Cleo makes mostly drugs. They make armor that's like white and pink, like the medical stuff, you know. Spacer's Choice, the first company you encounter, just makes cheap crap that breaks really easily. But again, it's cheap crap, so that's the whole benefit of it. An old thing with the first zone you're in is, people are getting sick in the town, which is primarily just a big cannery for salt tuna. However, you find out that salt tuna isn't native to the planet, and they've actually just been using additives. This tuna is 100% additives. And none of the stuff found on the planet is actually safe for consumption, so those additives are making people very, very sick. So most of the workers left, and, you know, the town's slowly dying. They just can't figure out why, because they're stupid. And so that's like a big thing in the game, is that everyone's really stupid. Why? Because you're company property. Nobody's actually free. They are all owned by whatever company owns the colony that they're settled in. And they can't badmouth the company at all. It's very much like living under communism. And so the people are genuinely not educated. They were taught what they need to know to do the job they were assigned, and they just gotta do that job. That's all the company cares about. They didn't need to educate anyone. So when you make your character, you look at all the backgrounds you can choose from, and they're all just like really pathetic things, like junior assistant scientist, which means that like you're test subject essentially. Or, like, a janitor is one of them. A fry cook. They're all just really unimpressive stuff, but when you walk into the system, you're, like, the smartest guy there. And so your dialogue kind of makes you out to be a bit of an asshole, honestly. But it's funny. Right, there was even a whole side quest that you could do that's about trying to get money back for people paying for death insurance, essentially. Like, you need to reserve a spot in the graveyard, and you pay for it the entire time you're alive. And presumably, once you've lived as many years as you've been dead, they'll exhume your body and free up space in the cemetery. Which is really messed up, but during that quest you find out that one of the workers committed suicide, right? And that is viewed as destruction of company property, so the whole town has to pay for it. And they were trying really hard to cover it up. It turns out it wasn't actually suicide, it was like drug-induced paranoia that made him kill himself, so it was different. In fact, as you might guess, there would be a lawsuit against Anti-Cleo if anything.
Horseman.
Horseman.
Aye, Angel. Are your wits cleared?
Yes. Though I am ashamed to admit that bastard clouded my mind to begin with. General of Heaven. What a sick joke. Thank you for setting me free.
Lust was a powerful force.
Aye. But only because I supplied them with fuel. Sorrow makes an easy target. To think that my garrisons could again soar the skies, strong and alive.
We have all yearned for lost glory, Lucille. Let it go.
No. Not until I've paid off my debt to you, horseman. My life, my sword, and my soul are yours.
Thank you, Lucille. For a bird, you're quite honorable.
Fury, when you find the rest, however many of the 7 remain, make it hurt.
That is a promise I'm happy to keep, Angel.
Ah, shit, I didn't even have to come here and I got that Thofnir. Damage with this weapon per 3,000 souls carried up to 40%. That's cool. Damage reflected back on attacker, half. Nice. I don't know if I'd use that for the damage part, but, well, maybe if it wants me to have less souls on person. When you upgrade it, I'll have to see. So that's all just the start of the game. You find out more messed up stuff as you go on. But, you know, all that sounds kind of messed up. And it is. But I think it's hilarious. Because it's true. That's the best kind of humor, when it's kind of true. Or totally true. One of my favorite comedians is, of course, the legendary George Carlin. And that's very much his style. And I thought it was interesting to bring up now because of, you know, what's happening now. We're in the middle of the Great Resignation, they're calling it. And the hot button topic this month. Essentially, nobody wants the jobs that are available, and many unemployment rates are much higher than they were during the Great Depression in the 90s, which, you know, it sounds maybe worse than it is, because there's obviously a lot more people in existence, so, like, there's probably more people actually working now than there were before, but still, the rate is higher, so, like, as a percentage, it's still probably a very significant amount. Part of that's just that people are living off all the stimulus checks that they keep trying to push out. I don't think another one is on the way, though. I keep seeing headlines that are like, what's the status on the next stimulus check? I honestly didn't need it. I had plenty of money saved up, but I'm sure it did save some people. But the people who actually need it, it was not enough for them, so, like, the whole thing was kind of pointless to me, honestly. And, you know, of course, with all the free time everyone had during the pandemic, they learned about stocks, so now everyone's just trading stocks for companies that don't actually have workers, which is a pretty big issue. But it's working for them because of loopholes. Like the whole bullshit with GME and GameStop, like, that was all just people working together to fuck the system. They weren't actually playing the stock market correctly, or the way it was intended. And there's the whole shit with cryptocurrency, which is slowly starting to take over normal money, because it's backed by things that people actually care about. As it stands, the money in almost every country, I believe, is just backed by silver and gold. Which, honestly, aren't that valuable. Like, what do we use gold for? Electronics. Circuit boards. Stuff that we throw out constantly. You go to the freaking dollar store and there's how many cheap electronics that nobody wants. And it all gets dumped in the ground in China. That's literally our money we are throwing away. So, like, aside from all of that, just, like, jobs suck. Nobody wants to work them. And, like, they don't pay competitive wages either. You go to McDonald's and you get a little over minimum wage, I think. It's not livable by any means. I make more than a McDonald's worker makes. But, like, what's the world gonna do without fucking McDonald's? We need it. And, like, grocery store workers, we need them too. They're very important. So, like, why aren't they getting the big bucks? Because it's unskilled labor, because you didn't need to get a degree to work it. Well, you don't need a degree to work most jobs. Ones that are available are unskilled labor, and people need to work them to live. And we only have limited time, so, like, yeah, you could technically work 2 jobs and live, afford your rent and stuff. But, like, that's not a very fulfilling existence. In fact, it's fucking miserable. So people would rather just not work and do stuff like sell porn on OnlyFans. So, like, that's where we're at right now. And, you know, you have the CEOs of these businesses are multi-billionaires. The companies are making multi-billions in profits. Like, some of that money can definitely go to the employees. It's just, like, pointless greed. What the fuck? I think the statistic is after $75,000 a year, you don't become much more happy or making more money. Like, it's just pointless beyond that. Because you can already afford all the nice things. Like, what else do you do with that money other than fucking burn it? Flex. Fucking nothing. The whole point of it is to spend on things that you want, and so, like, someone like me who only really wants video games and nothing else. Video games and genuine connections with people he doesn't talk to. I just, like, don't see a need for it, which is why I only work 4 days a week. I'm by no means struggling for money. I have plenty in my savings, and I could probably take a year or so off and actually work on my game if I really came to that. And so, you know, it's just like the companies are greedy and they don't understand what their workers' needs actually are. But, like, there's also just, like, a sense of genuine incompetency and cluelessness to it all. Like, back in November, around Thanksgiving, I read an article where they said Target is never doing Black Friday on Thanksgiving again. And, you know, good, alright? Everything should be closed on Thanksgiving. It's a fucking American holiday. Everyone should be celebrating it. Nothing religious about it. It's a very important American holiday. But, what they said was, the reasoning behind it wasn't the pandemic. It was that the workers said they were very happy to not have to work on Thanksgiving. That sounds like it's just like, you know, they thought that it would make them sound nice, but like, what do you think that's a revelation? You didn't think that people didn't want to work on a fucking holiday? If you were really concerned about your employees' happiness, you just never would have done it to begin with. Like, what the fuck? And speaking more personally, during the last 2 months, I was actually working overtime every week. And it was somewhat intentional, somewhat unintentional. You know, I'm usually willing to take overtime during the holidays so I can get more money to spend on my gifts and stuff, you know. But, you know, your employer isn't supposed to schedule you for overtime. It looks bad for them to their boss. Reflects poorly on them. So when I'm consistently getting it for 2 months, it's a kind of a big deal for them. And they did all that without ever consulting me, which, as I said, I only want to work 4 days a week. I don't really care that much about the money. So, you know, I'm kind of fighting with them right now. But, like, that's just, like, a complete sense of disrespect that they just eventually ignored my initial demands. And it's not like they needed me there. We have several days a week where there's a surplus of people on my team doing my job. They just did it because they don't fucking care about me. They also had us, like, switch to working till 1 o'clock on New Year's, like, the day before it happened, even though we had a meeting weeks before saying that that wasn't an issue. So, like, obviously we made plans, we were gonna go party and stuff, and that all got canceled last minute. We were pretty pissed off about it. And we weren't doing anything specific in the building either, so, like, it was pointless. And we ended up leaving early. Early, still late, but, like... that was just fucked up. And more generally, there are weeks where they had me working like 8 days in a row, like the worst possible setup for what I'm doing. And my other people will have like up to 10 days by the same stream, and like there's no reason for any of that. It's just inhumane. They don't think of us as people. I have a fucking uniform shirt, and I have one that they gave me. When am I supposed to wash that when I'm working 10 days in a row?
Do make sure they scream, horseman.
And, you know, I had similar complaints when I quit my other job, too, which I told you guys about. How, like, I was working overtime consistently because I was the only dishwasher. I was there every day, all fucking day, had no time to myself. The hours I was working were inconvenient, like everything was closed by the time I got out, so I couldn't ever buy anything with the money I didn't fucking want, and they didn't pay me enough of. Like, my time is invaluable, so, like, you have to pay me a decent amount to get it. And that's not even just saying that I'm a skilled individual or that because I'm smart or whatever. It's just, like, it's my time. I could do literally anything with it. I could, hypothetically, be making millions. So, like, you have to put a high value on what you think your time is worth based on what you think you're capable of. And I put a lot on mine. So, like, even though I don't necessarily want the money, it's important that I feel like I'm making a decent amount for what I'm offering. But then they start demanding more time than you ever offered. And what's fucked up about that is, if you just choose to not show up for the hours you didn't agree to work, you will lose your job. And what's fucked up about that is they already don't have a person to replace me with, so like... What do? Upside down smiley face. Anyways, I actually got today off because of that fight that we're having with our current schedule maker. We've brought it up to people in power and things have changed. So like, I was supposed to be working like 6 days in a row this week, and I looked this morning and I see that I had 2 of those days removed, so now I have on a 3-day weekend. Things are back to the way I initially demanded it, but like, how long is it gonna be until they freaking overstep their bounds again? Probably by the end of the year, I'm sure. Or by the summer. And you know, it's partially my fault because I didn't solidify days that I wanted off specifically because I like the flexibility. If I have plans that come up on a Wednesday and I have like the weekend taken off, like that's gonna be messed up. They're not gonna let me do it. So I'd rather just have a fluid open schedule and say I only want a certain amount of days. But they don't like have options for you to do that other than telling them in person and have them leave a sticky note somewhere forever that they'll eventually throw out. Which is definitely what they did, because they overscheduled me my first week there and I had them fix it with a sticky note. So like, they knew. It looks like I'm just wandering aimlessly, and that's because I am. I'm trying to get to an area that I don't remember how to get to. Like, I think it's if I backtrack like through here, maybe. Sucks about this is that there's no fast travel point where I'm trying to go. Right, so enough about me, back to the corporation sucking. Sick days are a scam. You know it. Why do I have to work to take a day off when I'm sick? Do you really want to risk the health of your freaking customers and other employees? Just let me stay home, especially during a fucking pandemic. Like, I should be able to take off with no fucking questions asked if I say that I'm sick. But that's not how it works, and coincidentally, I know I just said enough about me. Maybe 3 weeks ago, I possibly had COVID, I don't know. I had like a really bad headache, a sore throat, runny nose, and I lost my voice for like a whole week afterwards, which you guys saw the aftermath of. And yeah, I did get one of my coworkers sick with that, I think. He has a sore throat and a runny nose, so it has to be whatever I had. I don't know if it's COVID necessarily, because I feel fine, and I never got vaccinated. Vaccinated, it's not a vaccine if it's not 100% protection, but, you know, whatever. It also doesn't work in all the new variants, which are overtaking the original strand. In fact, just this last week, they said that things are much worse than during the initial thing before we knew about it. Which means people are being much more stupid than before, somehow. After being in this for 2 years, they somehow got stupider. Also, none of the vaccines were safe. I know the Johnson & Johnson one specifically has, like, killed several people. And also had a chance to, like, trigger some kind of genetic brain disease that would freaking rot your brain. Or something like that. But the other two also had, like, heart issues that you could have. Which I might have heart issues. I might have high blood pressure. A lot of people have high blood pressure because of how much sodium we eat. And I definitely feel like heartburn occasionally or something going on in my chest. Like, it's not okay. I've never heard of any other thing, like, causing issues like that except for the HPV vaccine, which I don't think they're pushing anymore. And what's really messed up about that is my dad says he just walked into a clinic and got a shot. They didn't have him sign any waivers like I did when I was initially signing up for mine. Which got canceled. The appointment was canceled, which is why I never got it. And I'm in no rush to do it. I was completely unaware, though, that, like, they give you something potentially extremely dangerous and they don't even make you sign anything. Like, what the fuck? To go along with what I said about people being stupid, I told you guys I work at a hotel, right? Initially, we had a policy where everyone had to be masked up, regardless of vaccination status, because people were lying about vaccination status before to get no masks, because I guess we weren't checking them or something, or like people were walking around without them anyways, just because nobody's gonna card them or whatever to check. So we got rid of that, and now nobody in the building actually wears them, except for employees. We're still required to. And, like, why? Fucking why? When you're in such a crowded place. Even when it was in effect, though, people were taking it off whenever they didn't have employee eyes on them. And I'd hear them because I'm like a fucking ninja, alright? I don't make footsteps because I walk on my toes. Always. I don't walk on my heels. So nobody ever hears me coming. And with the mask on, you can't really hear me breathing either. So I'd always hear people talking, like, yeah, why did I even get the vaccine? It's useless. It is so dumb. I'm vaccinated. I don't need to do this. And they just, like, don't understand that it's not 100% immunity, only blocks against the initial strand. And yes, it is in fact useless. Dude, how the fuck do I get to this place?
would you ask? Please take your time.
I think it might be near the freeway. Oh boy, getting hot in here. Ooh. Oh, I'm sorry, Jinx. You sounds. Go on, buddy. Oh. What's that? That was about corporations and sick days. I didn't necessarily mean to go into a conversation about COVID, but okay, it happened. Yeah. Corporations suck. I thought Outer Worlds was relevant. And I also think the game's very hilarious so far. I guess that was the whole conversation. Because my head is somehow cleared after standing up. You know, I've actually been trying to get into the crypto and stock market bullshit myself. I haven't just yet because I'm fucking lazy, but now it's the new year and it's not gonna, like, be more paperwork on my taxes until next year. I'm definitely gonna try to learn a bit more soon. And none of it's complicated that I know of. I have the crypto stuff's what's complicated. The normal stock market, yeah, I understand it. Very, very simple. The reason I find crypto difficult to understand is just that it's all based on different stuff. I guess at its core, it's all just a rights to proof of internet happenings. Like, you own a piece of the internet, which is of course broadcast on light, which never gets destroyed, it's just always in existence. Which is why when you post something, it's there forever. You can just use, like, the Wayback Machine or whatever to find whatever porn video got pulled down. Whatever blackmail was posted for half a second and then pulled down by the government. It's all there forever. And it exists on multiple computers. And so that's what blockchaining is, essentially. Just, like, owning that proof that exists on everyone's machine. But then there are just all the other coins that are not Bitcoin, and those are the ones that are difficult to understand. What are they based on? And you have to research them. I went to this talk at a convention, and a guy was talking about them. And he said he just, like, sometimes signs up for random new technology that he sees, and it ends up making him money sometimes. One of them, what he got was just, like, a special router that gave him ownership of all the internet in his neighborhood. Which sounds like some kind of scam, but it worked for him. So rather than everyone buying the internet from their company, the company would go to his router, and then it would distribute internet to the area, I guess. And so everyone's information was going through his router, and then whatever company gave him that router was probably selling that information, which, again, sounds scummy, but you agree to it every time you go to a website with the cookies you agree to and whatnot. Whenever you make an account for something, they're just asking you to sell your information. It happens. This is where we were trying to go, by the way. Holy moly. That fucking war cosplayer just one-hit me. I guess this is kind of relevant to both the previous topics, but I don't know if I mentioned this before. Some time ago, the U.S. government passed a bill that lets them buy stock. And they've been using that this whole time, this whole pandemic, to keep our economy from crashing. I did mention things are much worse than they were during the Great Depression, right? So why hasn't the economy collapsed? Why aren't you paying an absorbent amount for your groceries? It's because of that. Which the government's supposed to be a non-profit organization. Everything they do is paid for with your tax money. But now your tax money is being used for them to make money. To keep your money valuable. So, you know, the government's like way more in debt than they have ever been because of that, but they also means that they own stock in corporations, like they are shareholders, which is something I never expected to happen. Right? Because, like, the big corporations, the big mega corporations, Walmart, Amazon, Target, they'll own, like, a ton of, you know, the sub-companies. Disney. So I was thinking that at a certain point they would become the primary owners of the United States. Like, our government would collapse and we would all be like, well, I think I'm in a Verizon-owned area, just to be like Verizon and Amazon in Pennsylvania. However, if our government still has a say in those, then, like, you still might be listening to Donald Trump and George Bush. Is Bush still alive? He's gotta be. He's kind of just a meme now, but, like, is he alive? It's so hard to say, because you have to be old as fuck to become president. Like, I think you need to be at least 35 before you're allowed to run, which is complete bullshit. It means that, like, out-of-touch people are the ones in charge. And I guess that's the same way with corporations, like what we were talking about before. But anyways, once they hit a certain amount of debt, the economy will still collapse regardless. Because I think that the value's staying the same because of how they're getting money is like a loophole or something. Like, somebody just needs to wise up and it'll all fall apart. I'm not entirely sure how that works. But eventually they have to declare bankruptcy. That's the end game of where that death would happen. And you know, with how all the freaking major corporations are dodging taxes, that bankruptcy is going to approach all the more faster. I think Blizzard is technically based in Sweden or something. You've heard the term Swiss bank account before, right? It's very common. I guess because taxes are like non-existent over there or something. But essentially, despite, you know, the actual big mega complex for Blizzard and Activision being over here in like California, their small little office that's their HQ is over in Sweden. It means they're a Swedish-owned corporation. And they don't have to pay American taxes, only sales tax. On the products sold, but like not on any of their profits. And that's just a very common practice. Brazil's another big hotspot for it. Like, most of Brazil is just office space. I definitely hadn't been up there because I needed the blue to do that, but like, what was up there? Probably left too quickly. Oh, never mind, there's a wind geyser. Yeah, I don't know. Great, glad I lost him. You know I don't fuck with those guys. Pretty sure there's one of those rock clusters around here somewhere. I might have to move the wall though. Oh, I smashed a few of those purple orb things. All that really came from that. I think I spent like half an hour looking for this place.
As you wish. Please take your time.
All that's left is that room I was trying to get into and I still can't figure it out. Right here at the cargo ship.
Wish. Take your time. As you wish. Please take your time.
Right, it has to be somewhere coming in to the water dungeon. Did I enter the room from below? And I need to figure out how to get in below. But I thought I more or less completely explored the water dungeon, just not the entrance point. So, like, that has to be it. How difficult it is to find. It has to be like a chunk of adamantine or something. I gotta tell myself to feel better. All the details on the lower parts because they expect you to walk through this. But I need to look at the ceilings. Was this the correct way? Okay. Don't actually want to be here yet. What's the point of this little spot over here if there's nothing here? You can see they're using the coral to guide you to important places, but like, what's it guiding me to here? Like there's a hole that's too dark to see. Or Volgrim nearby, yeah.
Greeting.
Let's see if I can just look it up. The hulking carcass? Let's see. Darksiders 3 hulking carcass warehouse item. Here we go, collectibles, the hulking carcass. Configuration core, demonic ads. Eastward, face the demon, uncover the core from the core. Increase in your building, cross ventilation, but find. Is it? Yeah, that's it. Alright, guys. Well, I just saved us like a lot of time by doing that, so that's good.
Please take your time.
However, you ready to watch me like eat a gun? It's a demonic artifact though, so that's pretty good. Okay, you ready for this? You see this fucking crate right here? Fuck me. Yeah, I saw there was a hole in the ground. I didn't see how fucking deep it was. God damn it. Oh well. It's not like we didn't get any collectibles during that whole scavenger hunt. This was just the main thing on my mind that whole time, and I feel really dumb. I think we more or less got everything in the Bonelands. We can get out of here now. And the water dungeon should have been completely explored when we got our thing. So now we can go back to the start. And I guess we'd have to check out the Nether and the Hollows. Which, we unlocked one last area in the Hollows and we never checked it out.
Greetings. Please take your time.
No, we were at North End before, I think. What we want is not the South End, I think it's the West End. So what's on our list of animes? Let's not talk about serious stuff anymore. Okay, let's talk about serious stuff. I'm kidding. Half partially. So Wonder Egg Priority. Well, I'll start off by saying no, I did not enjoy it. It started off alright. Sort of Psychonauts kind of thing. We're inside the heads of girls who've killed themselves, I guess. And you get like a Kingdom Hearts weapon to smash all the bad boys, and the bad boys are like, I think the weakest ones are called haters, like very much like the blockers and Psychonauts or whatever they were called. It's like little ugly things with stamps. And there are other kinds of manifestations that try to just hate you. It all has to do with depression. And And I guess the point is to save the girl's soul? Because these are all dead girls, alright? They committed suicide. But, you know, they talk to them, find out what the deal is, and they, call the final boss a bitch and smash its face in with their friggin' creative pen with rainbows and stuff. And the action's very beautiful. The art style's great, too. But the show itself is just pretty stupid. And it's not that it was stupid initially, alright? It had an okay concept. It got stupid as things went on. What is a Wonder Egg? Well, I guess we start out following a shy girl hermit who doesn't go to school anymore because she's also depressed, probably at risk of committing suicide. And she has the voices from the other world talking to her until eventually they hand her an egg, and you're like, hey, smash that egg. And she does, and it hatches into a person. That's the first girl she has to save. Eventually, she encounters other girls doing the same thing, who also are, like, depressed in some way. All for different reasons. The one's like a clone, which is fucking ridiculous, and she's like CEO of a fucking company that's heavily invested in investigating the other world. The other one's like a girl who thinks that she's hot shit, but she hates herself, but like she's a total bitch about it anyways. And there's another who's a girl who gets mistaken for a boy all the time, but she's also gay. So like she maybe wants to be a boy. I mean, she dresses like a boy and she's gay. Like, I'm not saying that you can't be a masculine female, but I got the impression that this person maybe wanted to be transgender man.
I know.
Chosen.
Felt its eye on me from the moment we entered this pit. Another chosen. Be careful.
So, as you can guess, it's tackling a wide variety of topics. The girl who thinks she's hot shit also has, like, a dad who left her and a mom who's a slut. So, eventually she shows up with, like, a handful of, like, 8 dads that are potentially hers, and she wants to find the real one. That's all just a side gimmick because she doesn't want to talk about herself. So, you know, it covers a wide variety of topics, but it tries to focus specifically on the suicide thing. And, see, the show isn't finished. Like, I guess they're going for another season. But, essentially the villain is the spirit of an AI girl who was the girliest girl until she got really jealous and killed humans. And then she is now doing bullshit in the other world that has something to do with girls having a higher rate of suicide and susceptibility to depression. And yeah, it went from like discussing serious topics to like science fiction that's not very good. And then it has a recap episode towards the end, as well as the finale being an hour-long thing that's also a recap, when the recap episode was like 2 episodes before it. The storytelling doesn't happen linearly. It kind of bounces back and forth between times. Like, in the middle of a fight, it'll just cut to the girls doing girl shit. Becoming friends to get over their depression or whatever, I don't know. The only actual thing I would call progress happening is that the protagonists eventually decide they want to go back to school. However, they're also in love with their teacher, who is like twice their age. And that teacher is also gonna fuck her mom. Which is probably why she wanted to go back to school. so that she can get close to her before that happens. And I don't know, maybe that makes sense to a girl. I don't know how your brains work. But I think it's sufficient to say that a decent amount of the freaking time slots that the show had was used on recaps and storytelling that was made overcomplicated by the way they chose to do it. Like, I'm sure they could have squeezed in a lot more story if they just told it as it happened, rather than bouncing around like that. It also would have made a little more sense. Also, the whole deal with the AI girl, that was like, had nothing to do with the other world. They created it themselves. The two scientists who are the voices that were talking to her initially. And they were like a gay couple, till eventually the one guy like fell in love with a woman, so I guess that he's bi, and that's fine. However, like, it seemed to just happen. You know, there wasn't any arguments or anything. The guy was just cool with his partner being with a woman and having a kid with her. Even though they literally fucking spent how many years creating an AI daughter for themselves. And of course the AI daughter is the one who got jealous and killed the actual daughter, but, and the wife. But I thought that whole thing was kind of messed up, like, they didn't establish that they were in an open relationship or anything. Also, the woman is nowhere to be seen, despite them both being dead. So, aside from just bad writing, I feel that this show's, like, completely threw away whatever potential it initially had. Like, I was gonna fail regardless of if they did the recap episodes to waste their time or not, but I don't know, there could have been something. And I'm, like, really disappointed that they fucked it all up. Still, we do have another case of cartoon characters swearing, so that's always good. You love to see it. So with that out of the way, we can talk about an actual good show. Golden Kamuy. This one's been on my watch list for a while, but I ended up coincidentally getting a recommendation from a friend a little bit before I watched it. So I think the show is a mix of 2D and CGI, or maybe they do it in CGI then animate over it or something, rotoscoping. But it looks good. See, it takes place in like the Wild West period of Japan, where like they're still settling the islands, but they have guns. So like it's post-samurai, but not quite modern Japan yet. And that means that it's also post-cowboy, so probably early 1900s. It takes place in Hokkaido, which is actually still a pretty rural area today. And we follow a group of soldiers who are hunting down a treasure left by the Hokkaido Ainu, who are like essentially Native Americans, but like for Japan. Like they're uncivilized tribal people who hunt for everything, and they kind of have their own language. It's pretty funny because you have to like earn your name when you become an adult, but until then you're named after like something horrendous. Like your name will literally be shit when you're a kid. So the daughter of the guy who hid the treasure has like some secret into her that she's gonna tell her where to go when they find all the map pieces. So she's traveling with the soldier, who is named the Immortal Sugimoto, who you think would be a badass, but no, he's just a dingus and he has good luck. He's immortal because he almost dies all the time, but he doesn't. And the thing about the map is that it's all on prisoners. The guy who made the map is in prison, and he tattooed some prisoners with the map. So the bad soldiers are skinning these people, while as Sugimoto is just writing the map down on paper. He's just tracking them down. A couple of them even join his party. This is a globe-trotting hunting adventure where you learn about the customs of the Ainu. And, they eat a lot of interesting food, which I guess is also what I just said before, customs of the Ainu. Like, they're just montages and montages of them eating and hunting and partying. And the thing about the little girl is she goes ugly-faced all the time. It's pretty hilarious. Like, Sugimoto always carries around a little box of miso seasoning, and she thinks it's poop. But eventually she tries it and she's like, wow, it's delicious, but she still calls it poop. So, whenever they're eating, she might be like, oh, I bet this would taste so gross if you put poop on it. She's making an ugly face the whole time. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's a wonderful face. There's gotta be memes of it. There was also a scene where, like, she jumped for joy because the food was so good, and she just, like, gets stuck in the roof of the tent. And the other guys start talking over, and she's just, like, sitting there in the ceiling, with her legs floating above the ground in the background. It has a lot of good sight gags, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. In general, things are pretty goofy, but it's also, like, serious at the same time. To steal my friend's analogy, very much like a Yakuza game. Let's see, there are 3 seasons of it. It is still not finished. It's ongoing. I think it's actually a Netflix show, or no, it's Universal. So that might be Netflix too, I don't know. Yeah, despite having a Netflix account, I specifically watch anime on, like, piratey sites, because it's all in one place. Yeah, Crunchyroll's free too. And I have a Verve, so, like, I have access to these through legal means. They're just, like, really inconvenient, in my opinion. Yeah, it's just a fun show, and when there's action, it's neat too. Tense. As I said, Sugimoto almost dies all the time. So of course you get to see plenty of that, and there's a couple factions working against them, like there's the military who's also looking for the map, and there's the prisoners themselves who are banding together to defend themselves. One of them is just really obsessed with his cock. And the little Indian girl calls him Dick Sensei. Yeah, had a great time with that. Ooh. Ugh. Fuck. Oh. Yeah, there's also this one character who's like a sort of serial killer who makes clothes out of people's skin. And the scenes of him are kind of disturbing, actually. And he comes out wearing suits with like human udders made of fingers and stuff. Who's the guy who did that? Jeffrey Dahmer? He the furniture man? He wasn't so bad. I just had to shut the fuck up. I'm really digging the ice sword, actually. I want to level it up more. The only thing better than lifesteal is to dodge easily. And a shield. Don't even need the lifesteal.
I felt something this time. Behind the emptiness that closes them. A fire burns inside the Chosen.
Yes, Mistress. The Chosen do burn.
What? Alright, this comes out over here. I think most of this area should be explored too. There's just that one spot with the enemies I never killed. Like, you know what we're talking about, after we got the freaking hover ability. Right next to the Maker's Forge. Though I ran past them and grabbed the loot, I think. It'd be nice to look around again. But I don't know if I will. Like, it seems unnecessary. I didn't even know this was here until just now. It's funny because I said that it was mostly explored, right? Go in there. It looks like I can, but there's just this door blocking my way. I definitely can't squeeze through this. It's too dummy thick. Freaking cheapos in the future can't afford actual wood. They had to make the whole thing out of titanium. Just wood coated. Like wallpaper. How do I get up there? That's how. Angelic artifact. Nice. Looks excellent. Ah. Ah. Soul. I know this leads out into the north end, but I think there might be a purple thing to smash on the way down. Oh, there is purple stuff right here. Wonder what for, though. Looks like it's just a way to get back up. It's all this, though. Oh, where's my shield? Anything over here? No.
Good eating.
Show me your
Take your time.
balls.
As you wish. Yes, as you wish. Please take your time.
Where's the Maker's Forge? I guess I'm gonna cash in some of the stuff I just collected, but also this is like it'll put us back to where we just were when we took that detour. Other weave shit do I have? Sorcerer's Stabber Orphan. So it's a reboot of a show from the 90s, I think. The song sounds very 90s, they kept it the same. He also dresses very punk rock with a black leather jacket, studded gloves, fingerless. Cool edgy skull medallion, like, he looks like Geralt of Rivia. Except, like, emo. He also has a headband, which is epic. Cool thing.
How can my hammer be of service? Aiming to lay down a mighty herd, are we?
Yeah, baby.
Didn't think it was possible, but now you're even deadlier. Some of my best.
The barbs of Barbara.
Didn't think it was possible, but now interesting. All right.
What else I
Let's
got?
see what I can do for you.
Yeah.
Some of my best work.
Need more demonic artifacts. Need more angelic artifacts. I do have a chosen essence, though.
Interesting.
Okay, well,
Tests and blessings to you, Fury.
we got things. Look at that, it's moving. It's moving. Right, so despite the weird title, Orphan is actually a sorcerer. Let's see, he's an elite sorcerer, successor to the Razor's Edge. Means he's like the top dog, and he exiled himself from the Tower of Fangs, which is where they trained them. He's a part of a class of like 6 people or something under Professor Childman. They were all very powerful. Most of them are dead. Because one of them wanted power and they did some ritual and became a dragon or some bullshit. And that's the whole initial first arc before they get that kind of sorted out. So a stabber is like an assassin employed by the Tower of Fangs. So like, I guess he's technically a stabber if he's trying to kill the dragon lady, but they're also kind of like childhood friends, so he doesn't want to do that. So I guess you'd call it a fantasy action adventure thing. It's a romp. The story has things happen. I'm not entirely sure where it's going. Like, there isn't a big end goal at the moment. Dragon Girl just shows up sometimes, like, hey, don't worry, I've got this. He's like, hey, I can't trust you. He's like, nah, that you gotta do it. He's like, okay. And there's fights that happen. He picked up an apprentice stage training as well as side girl who's just there for comedic relief. She has a pet wolf who shoots lasers out his eyeballs, so that's pretty sick. Action's good, however, he has to chant to cast spells. Not necessarily chanting. I guess the way the magic works is you visualize it in your head and you tie it to words to bring out that visual more easily in yourself. So like the words themselves don't matter, but they have whatever meaning you put in them. So whenever he does a specific thing, he'll say a specific line. You're gonna hear it a lot. Like, I think to summon a magic sword that, like, shoots out like in Fable, he just says, like, Heavenly Castle, I dance within thee. That might be the teleport. But, you know, stuff like that. You just hear the same lines a lot. Which, it's kind of cheesy. I feel like it was maybe done that way to push action figures or something. Because it did have a marketing campaign, I guess. Like, I know there's a PS2 game that I think's actually pretty decent. I've never played it. And from what I can tell, there are only 2 seasons of the original. And there's only 2 seasons of the current one, too. But season 2 is, like, over, I think. Either that or they're in, like, a midpoint hiatus. So I think they might actually be pushing past wherever the original ended, because maybe they caught up to the manga or something, like Claymore did. So, I don't know. It's alright. It's not the best, but I'm enjoying the 90s cheese. Orphan's kind of an asshole. I'm also not sure why he insists on everyone calling him Orphan once they've revealed his name's Curlancelo and everyone always calls him Curlancelo. It just makes him seem like more of an edgy asshole. Also, there are these 2 characters that are supposed to be dwarves, and because of the lack of other fantasy races, I'm not sure if dwarf means, like, dwarf, or, like, short person. But in the way they're portrayed, they're children. They have children's voices, and it's really strange. Though that might not be the case in the, you know, Japanese version. Because I watch dubs. You know that. I can't read. Too far away, and I watch when I'm trying to go to sleep. Actually, just today, Donkey put out a video about acting in video games. And he made a point about how he always plays the dubbed version of Japanese games, too. Because it's like, you're asking me to pick between the normal version and the funny version. So, like, even if the dub is bad, it'll be funny. I think in general, the comedy just translates better because I actually know what the fuck they said. Like, in sync with whatever sight gag might be on screen. So, I guess for what I'm saying is, if it happens to push past where the previous version of the show ended, then I would recommend the new one. Otherwise, since what I enjoy about the new one is the 90s cheese, I guess I'm telling you to go watch the original, even if the voice acting's probably much worse. It could be funny. And maybe check out the video game, question mark. Why the fuck won't this break? God damn. There it is. There's something here. Don't really want to fuck with these guys. I suppose I could, but I don't want to. Because then they're going to kill me, and I'm going to walk all the way back here and lose my souls. Not a fun time. Is there a shortcut? Can I just go back up there? Huh. Who knew? I wonder if I went through the whole place backwards. It could make some sense, like, instead of making me walk through all that bullshit, they just put me right in front of the hard enemies right away, you know? Then again, I feel like I've never seen those, so maybe they're unique and they'll drop something if I kill them. I'll go back in a second. I just want to cash these in first.
Good. This, as you wish. Farewell for now.
Alright, let's fight him. Come here, bish. Just an illusion. Well, they weren't very tough at all. Did some damage. This guy was the problem. These guys are always hard. Fuck. Well, that was pointless. I didn't even get that much money for it. At least I know. All I really have is the Nether left to explore. There's that little section just before it at the crossroads, wherever it's called, but I'm pretty sure I got most of the stuff there already. We'll look anyways. I think there was maybe one room where I went in there and said, no, we'll take care of that later. There's probably two of those big gorilla things in there or something. Sounds familiar to me.
What would you ask?
Yeah, I could wait for the elevator, or I can just take a serpent pole.
Please take your time.
Woo! How are we on time? I'm gonna say 2.5 hours. 3 hours now. I don't know. We didn't make any significant progress here, but I feel like we got some stuff done. Tell you what, instead of going to the Nether, we will head into the Hollows and explore that area that we haven't done yet, even if it is small AF. You can see new content. What's happening? Okay. This sucks. I can't switch my hollows while it's active. I need something to hit me. I think I'm just gonna let him hit me though. Human.
Please, save me.
Sliver? Isn't that the smallest one? Really hid that behind something that requires me to have the third hollow? I think this is probably that room that I vaguely remember. Show me 2 gorillas. Oh, not gorillas, but close. You guys are tough. Look like the black variants too. 3 of them. There's a purple wall. That's probably why I left it too, just because I didn't have it yet. Oh, there's a gorilla. Oh, of course, the one I don't fucking charge does it. Oh well. I destroyed his rock with the glaive. Okay. Oh, I cannot back up. That's it. I hopped back off for nothing. Ah. Oh. More angelic artifacts. I didn't want to remember how many I needed. I'm going to assume 3. Oh, back in the Nether. Perfect. Not Nether. Hollows. I feel like those two could be easily changed. Like, you know, Nether, it's almost always the Hell Realm, right? And then the Hollows with the slimy goops and the glowy eggs. Like, I feel like that works. You just swap the names. Ah, I think this is literally exactly where we were about to go. What a coinky twink. Well, that looks like a very big lurcher cluster. Still, I'd rather have gotten anything else. I suppose it did just throw an artifact at me, though. Oh boy, these guys. You know how to deal with... They know how to deal with me. Ah. Ugh. Ugh. It's kind of difficult to deal with two at once. We're working it out though. Okay. I'm a little surprised I didn't die, but I guess we are heading towards the end game. Oh, don't you come over here, you piece of fuck. Not after I already aggroed the hard boy. Oh, this guy's probably weak. Weak-ish. Relative. Alright, he actually dropped something for once. I knew it was a good idea to lure him out. Scumbag. East, that was one of the big ones. Got a lot of money out of that. I guess since this is a lower level area, I can just hold on to it, maybe afford that next armor set. Since I'm actually using the stasis hull a lot, it might be beneficial. Now, for the most part, everything here is just covered in lava, so, like, we got most of the stuff, I feel. There might be a couple of the ice walls left, but I don't think there are any purple things. That I can remember, at least. place is pretty small. A lot of small loops. Really couldn't take too long to get through all of it. Even if we are searching every crooked granny. Have I been over there? I think I have. Right, I fought that guy and there's just like a dead end up here, I think. And I probably said like, why? But why though? Right, there's archers up there. I know I already smashed open all the tombs. I just need to find wherever the pathway is up here. No beans. Boy. No, just a small thing. Yeah. It's interesting how you walk through the lava like you're wading through sludge. I'm concerned that it's molten rock. I suppose it would be very sludgy feeling. But normally, lava is just like, you know, hot water. In video games, at least. So did we ever get this gate open? I'm not even sure if there's anything back there. Like, it looks like the implication is that there was supposed to be one of the sword keys, but it's seemingly just a closed room. moves, because they wanted me to do that fight instead of just running away. But now it's just an inconvenience. I mean, they could have just, like, dropped something on it. A cage or something. Boy. Yay! Why can't I move? Did it do something wrong? Let me reset my controller. What happened? All I did was pet my fucking cat. Oh, whatever I did worked. I didn't actually do anything but press the home button a bunch of times. Which is strange, because that's the only button that was working. You know, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that that's all fine. I feel like I got whatever was back there already. I don't remember this area being too secret heavy at all. Like, everything was just within my power from the beginning. Except for, like, near the entrances, because there's shortcuts to take you back, as I want to reward you with whatever when you found it. It's smart. Smart of them. Go to the Nether. Nether. Hopefully nobody thought I said a different word, because that happens all the time. Then people get banned. I feel like this place is very purple rock heavy. but I'm not sure how much of the blue I'm going to be using. And how much of it I've actually collected already, either. There's one place in particular that comes to mind that I need to look at. Though we are nowhere near it currently. It's so tempting to go up there even though you can't.
Wanna play?
Ah.
Play with nerve.
So, why are they impersonating human children? I'm sure during the initial invasion that was effective, but like, who are they attacking now? I suppose there are still some survivors, but like, you know what I mean. Their primary target is the freaking demons, right? Like, what do they care about human children other than that they're delicious? Is that an item over there? Pretty sure that's an item over there.
No fun.
Ow! Oh, you know what? The whole section around the sloth boss room has a lot of purple stuff in it, I remember. It's not even the place I was thinking of before. Play with us. No, was that just mysterious orange light freaking me? Oh, so.
Play with us.
Surprise. Play with me. Father. Ah, God. I can't do that voice. Makes me choke. think this comes out in the water room, which is where I actually wanted to go first. No. It's nearby, though. I don't remember if it's up here or the other way. Both are gonna take me somewhere I want to be, though. Hey. That's where I wanted to go. Because we were trying to throw the freaking bug down here before and it wasn't quite working because you can't throw downward. Oh. That was that, but surely there's more to it. I think there's water. I have to be able to use my ice or this or something, right? I just missed this. Once again, using the coral to guide you to the correct place. The glowies. Even though it really didn't make any sense for it to be there, considering that's the only coral. Barnacles, probably, but barnacles don't glow. Come on, the one I don't smash has it.
Taste the sting of my whip.
I think these both might actually be on the correct path. Right, the way past Rat led into the hollow. There might be something to check out over there, but this is where I want to be. And we're taking the long way, just so I can farm some. Not like I don't need to double check or anything. But we specifically want the rooms where we talked about Death Stranding. I remember there being a lot of purple on screen during that. What's back here? I wonder. Not a thing. Thought it didn't look familiar. That's because I wiped it from my memory out of disgust. Right, that was two big boys down there, and they dropped like an artifact or something, an enchantment. This could be the way to go. But this is also the way to go. Not sure. Maybe one's a shortcut. Go this way. Oh, yes. I thought it looked familiar. That's because I wiped it out of my memory of disgust. There was probably an item hidden in there at some point. Just gone now. This is where we want to be. Ah. Junk. My favorite brand. Do you think that Junk is like an underwear company? Both because it like covers your junk, but also because like a bird is shaped like panties. And there's like a girl over here. She's got junk in her trunk. See, purple stuff, I do not lie. Looks like we've been here before. I think this is under the cathedral. Fuck. Stop blocking. Please disable ad blocker to play this game. Yeah, I've definitely been here. Huh. You know, of all the websites, I'm surprised don't beg you to turn off ad blocker. Like, why isn't YouTube one of them? If all their money allegedly comes from ads and they're willing to destroy people's channels in favor of, you know, the people who make the ads. But why do they not, like, do that annoying thing where they give you a pop-up that says, please disable ad blocker, you can't use the site. Like all the news sites do. They have to be getting their money from elsewhere. Or maybe they have like some kind of system where they take money from the ad block company in favor. They just don't tell you because it's probably more profitable. Kind of like how the Brave browser makes its money. It has a built-in ad blocker, then it like extorts money out of all the websites it blocks. Something like that. I still use Chrome because I don't care that people are selling my information. It's just part of using the internet. At least I know who's doing it. Touch the rock. I feel like I should be able to cut this down. Do you think this is maybe a reference to, like, Spider-Man? Like, why is this like this? I feel like this happened in a movie, though. Like, you saved a bus and a cop car that fell off a broken bridge or something. Sounds like a very Spider-Man thing to do. Not sure if there's anything below the holes, but there was a crawl space I walked by earlier. It's right here. No, is this the way I came in? Okay. Then it would be over here. Or ish. Call me Ishmael. There. I swear that whole hallway changed shape from when I first walked through it. That looks like a mouth and gross teeth. Nom nom nom. That mean I could have got in there without the smashy boy? Or is that how I got in there? Did I come from above or below? I think that's how I got in there. Ooh, confusion. So then, is there another one right here? Yeah. Knew it wasn't stupid. Windy ass hallways. Probably more stuff around here. Gotta be. There's just a corpse back there, very looted. Yoga. Optimize your life. Are you really optimizing your life by spending time stretching? I don't think so. Why do I feel like there was something over here on the far side? Because there wasn't. Durr. I want to say we've completely explored. All we have left is the scar and the stasis corridor, which I guess we'll do next.
Greetings.
How many things I got? An amount. I should have enough to get 40,000 easy. I need to spend like one.
Do make
Chow.
sure they scream. What would you ask of this? Take your time.
Yay!
An excellent choice. As you wish. This will be fun for both of us. As you
We're
wish.
like 40 off.
Now.
Can't leave with that. I need 40 souls. Maybe not the shade I would have picked, but it's not bad. It doesn't quite match the hair. And it's probably because the hair is too white. And that's the issue. Alright though. Looks fine. I think the orange one's still my favorite.
Greetings. This will be fun. As you wish. Farewell.
We need health, strength, probably health.
For now. What would you ask of the...
And so I'm aware of what our plan is. We are going back to the void. Alright, I guess that is it. I kind of got too focused on remembering my mental map of the area, so I stopped talking at some point. We do have some things to talk about still, oh well. Yeah, we're donezo. Donezo, the gunzo. I will see y'all in a week. You know how it be.